The silent snow, the night was silent. But the silence was not peaceful. It was the silence of death, of frozen winds and endless white snow. A young mother walked alone, her weak body trembling, her arms wrapped tightly around a small bundle. Inside the bundle, her baby breathed faintly, each breath softer than the last. The storm bit into her skin like knives, but she kept moving one slow step at a time. Her lips whispered words, a lullaby, her voice shaking with cold. It was a song her mother had once sung to her, back when the world was warm, back when people laughed. Now she sang it not to bring sleep, but to give her baby comfort in their final moments. Her tears froze on her cheeks as she sang. The baby's little hand moved weakly, fingers curling as if reaching for the warmth of the song. The snow was deep almost to her knees, her breath came out like smoke. But the smoke was fading. She looked to the sky, dark and endless, no stars, no moon, only heavy clouds, she thought. This is the end. And for a moment, she closed her eyes. Her body wanted to fall to sleep, to let the snow cover her forever. But then the baby gave a tiny sound, a soft cry so weak yet it pulled her back to life. She tightened her grip and kept walking. The storm grew louder, howling like beasts in the night. She knew no one would hear her song, no one would find her here. Her people were gone, villages empty. Only ruins left behind. The world had ended long ago, and humans were nothing more than shadows now. Still she walked because a mother does not stop. She sang louder even as her voice broke. Sleep, little one, don't be afraid, Mama is here. Mama will stay. The baby shivered again, the body so cold, too cold. She pressed her lips to the baby's forehead, whispering, "Please, just a little longer." Her tears fell onto the baby's face, warm for only a second before freezing into ice. Her feet stumbled, she fell to her knees, snow covering her like a blanket. The world spun around her, blackness pulling her into its arms. Her song grew faint, almost gone, but then something strange happened through the storm. Through the endless white she heard it, a sound that did not belong to the snow. It was steady, heavy, crunching against the ice. Footsteps. She froze, her eyes wide, her breath caught in her chest. Her heart pounded so loudly she thought the storm might hear it. She whispered to herself, "No, no one is out here, no one." But the sound came again. Closer, louder, footsteps slow, deliberate, strong. Fear wrapped around her like chains. She wanted to hide, but there was nowhere to go. She pulled the baby tighter against her chest, her body shaking, her voice falling silent. Only the storm spoke now and the sound of those footsteps. She forced her eyes to look into the snow. At first she saw nothing, only white, only shadows, but then a tall figure appeared in the distance, moving through the storm, dark against the snow, heavy against the wind. It was no ordinary man. The figure glowed faintly, like fire hidden under skin. Each step echoed louder, closer, closer. The mother's breath broke into gasps, her mind racing. Was it death itself, walking to take her away, or was it salvation? An impossible miracle in the middle of the endless storm. She held her baby and sang one last line of her lullaby, her voice trembling. "Sleep, little one. Mama is here." The footsteps stopped just a few steps away. She dared to look up, and what she saw froze her more than the snow ever could. The figure bent down slowly, shadows covering its face. Then a deep voice spoke through the storm. "Give me the child." The stranger appears. The mother froze in place, her arms still tight around the baby. The figure stood tall in the storm, its shape strange, not like any human she had ever seen. Snow swirled around it, but it did not bend or stumble. It walked as if the storm was nothing. Its eyes glowed faintly, two small flames in the dark night. The sound of its voice still echoed in her mind. "Give me the child." Her heart beat fast, fear and hope mixing like fire and ice. Who was this being? Why did it want her baby? She pulled the child closer, shaking her head, her voice weak. "No. I cannot." The figure moved one step closer, and the snow seemed to move aside for it. Its body was covered in strange armor, metal but alive, glowing lines running across it like veins. The storm could not touch him. He looked down at her, silent for a long moment. Before speaking again, "Your child is dying, give it to me, or it will not see the morning." Her breath caught in her throat. His words struck deep. The baby whimpered softly. So cold, so weak. She wanted to protect it, but what if he was right? What if this stranger was the only chance left? Her eyes filled with tears, her voice trembling. "Who are you? Why do you want my baby?" The figure knelt slowly, and she could see his face more clearly now. It was not a human face, his skin was smooth like stone. With faint light beneath, his eyes burned like embers. But there was no cruelty in them. Only something heavy, something old. "I am not your enemy," he said. "I have walked far to find you." "I came because of the song," the mother gasped, clutching the baby tighter. "The song," he nodded once. "Yes, the lullaby, the storm carried it. I heard it." His voice was calm, but there was a strange echo in it, like two voices speaking at once. "No one has sung like that in 1,000 years, he whispered. "And no one but a human could." The mother felt her fear twist into confusion. How could he know her song? Why would it matter to him? Her child stirred in her arms, a faint cry, a weak movement. The stranger's glowing eyes softened as he reached one hand forward. "Let me help, your child is more than you know. And the storm is not the only danger here." Her body trembled. Her mind torn apart, she wanted to run, but her legs were weak. The snow too deep, she wanted to fight. But her arms held only a dying child, so she stared at the stranger, her voice breaking. "If you are not my enemy, then prove it." The stranger looked at her for a long moment. Then he removed one glowing piece of his armor. Beneath it was skin, not cold metal, but something living, warm. He reached forward and touched the baby's tiny hand. A pulse of heat spread gently through the child's body. The shivers slowed for the first time. The baby breathed deeper, stronger. The mother gasped in shock, her tears falling freely. You saved him," she whispered. The stranger's voice was quiet but firm. "I did not save him, I only gave him a chance. His strength comes from you." Then his eyes hardened, and he looked into the storm behind him. "They are coming," he said, his voice heavy. "And if they find you, there will be no mercy." The mother's heart sank, her voice breaking. "Who is coming?" He stood tall again, pulling the armor back into place, glowing brighter now. "Hunters," he said. "They have tracked the song too, and they will not stop until they have the child." The storm screamed louder as if it had heard his words. The mother clutched her baby tightly, fear turning into fire inside her chest. Her lullaby was no longer just a song. It had called something dark into the snow. And now she was not only a mother, she was a shield. And she would not let them take her child. The cold refuge, the storm howled louder. Shaking the earth with icy fury, the mother's arms ached. But she refused to let go of her child. The glowing stranger stood tall, his burning eyes scanning the white horizon. He spoke in a low voice. "We cannot stay here. Follow me." Fear gnawed at her, yet something inside whispered to trust him. Her body was weak, her legs almost frozen, but her baby breathed more steadily now. That was enough reason to move. She followed the stranger, her feet dragging through the snow, each step a battle. The storm tried to bury them, but wherever he walked, the snow parted slightly, almost as if the storm feared him. Minutes turned into hours, though she could not tell time in this endless night. Finally, he stopped before a wall of jagged rocks. It looked solid, lifeless, but the stranger pressed his glowing hand against it. The stone cracked open, revealing a hidden passage of light. Warmth spilled out, soft and gentle, a miracle in the frozen wasteland. The mother gasped, clutching her child tighter. The stranger turned to her. "Come inside, quickly, before they smell your fear." Her heart pounded at those words, but she obeyed. Inside, the passage opened into a wide cave. Strange lights glowed along the walls, pulsing like living veins. The air was warm, carrying a faint hum. Almost like a heartbeat, the mother sank to her knees, tears falling as she pressed her cheek against her baby's tiny face. The child's skin was no longer ice cold, but warm, soft, alive, she whispered. "Thank you," her voice trembling. The stranger did not answer right away. He only stood in silence, watching her. Finally, he spoke. "This place is safe for now, but safety never lasts." She looked up at him, confusion in her eyes. "What are you?" she asked, her voice half curious, half afraid. He tilted his head, his ember-like eyes glowing brighter. "I am not what matters. What matters is your child." The mother held her baby closer, her voice shaking. "Why my child? Why are they after him?" The stranger crouched down, his armor humming softly. "You sang a song," he said. "A song no other being can sing. Your people were the last with this gift, and now only you remain." His gaze shifted to the child. "But the song in you has passed into him. Stronger than before, it is not just a lullaby. It is power." Her breath caught, her eyes wide. "A song. Power. He nodded slowly. The hunters seek it. They believe your child can bend the storm, bend the very world. But they do not understand what they chase. They only know fear and control. The mother's arms tightened around her baby, her heart pounding with both pride and terror. Her lullaby, just a simple song of love, was now something far greater. But before she could speak, the cave shook slightly, the lights on the walls flickering. The stranger rose to his full height, his glowing armor pulsing brighter. "They are searching already," he said. "The storm is their cover. Their teeth are sharp, their ears sharper. We cannot stay too long." The mother's voice cracked. "Where will we go? How can I protect him?" The stranger looked at her for a long moment, his ember eyes softer now. "You are stronger than you think," he said. "But you cannot do it alone. I will guide you. If you let me." Silence filled the cave, heavy and deep. The mother wanted to believe him, yet the fear of betrayal gnawed at her heart. Still, as she looked at her child, whose tiny chest now rose and fell with steady breaths, she knew she had no choice. If this stranger's strength kept her baby alive, then she would walk with him into the unknown. The hum of the cave grew louder, echoing like a distant song. The mother closed her eyes and whispered her lullaby again, soft and broken. The stranger listened, his burning eyes reflecting something almost human. And far beyond the walls in the frozen storm, dark figures moved closer, following the faint trace of that song, the song of survival. The cave pulsed with a strange light, soft and steady, like the heartbeat of some giant creature sleeping under the earth. The mother sat near a glowing stone, holding her baby close, listening to the child's quiet breaths. For the first time in many nights, her body was not shaking from the cold, yet her heart was still heavy with fear. The stranger stood near the entrance, his glowing armor humming faintly, his ember eyes watching the storm outside. Silence stretched between them, until finally he turned and spoke. "Why do you sing?" he asked, his voice calm but filled with curiosity. The mother blinked, surprised by the question. "It is a lullaby," she said softly. "I sing so my child will not be afraid." The stranger tilted his head, his burning eyes unblinking. "Afraid," he repeated, almost tasting the word. "We have no songs," he said after a pause. "We have no fear, only silence. But when I heard your voice, something inside me moved. Something I did not know I had." The mother frowned, holding her child closer. "You do not have songs," she whispered. Confused, the stranger shook his head. "My kind were made without them. We do not dream, we do not cry, we do not sing." His voice grew softer, almost sad. "But your song, it reached me, it awakened something. And that is why the hunters follow. They feel it too, though they do not understand." The mother's hands trembled as she touched her child's face. Her lullaby had been nothing but love, nothing but hope in the snow. And yet to this being, and to the hunters outside, it was something powerful, something dangerous. She whispered, "If it is only a song, how can it harm anyone?" The stranger's gaze grew heavy, his ember eyes glowing brighter. "Because it is more than sound," he said. "It carries life, it carries memory. Your people once sang to heal wounds, to call fire, to calm storms. But the gift faded, and now only you remain. And now the child carries it stronger than ever." Her breath caught. Her heart racing, she looked at her baby. So small, so fragile, and yet a treasure greater than any weapon. The stranger stepped closer, kneeling so his glowing eyes met hers. "Listen," he said. "They will come. They will break stone, burn earth, spill blood. But your song is your shield. Your voice can hide you or destroy them. If you choose." The mother shook her head, her voice breaking. "I'm only one woman. I cannot fight them, I cannot." The stranger's voice grew firm. "You already have. You kept walking when the storm wanted you buried. You sang when silence tried to kill you. Do not say you cannot." Her eyes filled with tears. His words cut deep because they were true. She had survived. Not with weapons, not with power, but with her song. Her lullaby was survival. Her love made into sound, and if that was all she had, then she would use it again. The baby stirred, letting out a small cry. The sound echoed through the cave, gentle but strong. The glowing stones on the walls pulsed brighter, as if answering the child. The stranger's ember eyes widened slightly. "Even now," he whispered, "the child sings without knowing. The gift grows each moment." The mother kissed the baby's forehead, whispering, "We will survive." Her lullaby returned, soft at first, then stronger. The cave walls glowed brighter with each note, warmth spreading through the air. The storm outside howled louder, but the song carried above it. The stranger closed his eyes, and for the first time in his long existence he felt peace, but far beyond the cave. In the endless snow, dark figures raised their heads. Their sharp ears caught the sound. Their glowing eyes narrowed with hunger. The hunters had found the trail. The lullaby had become a beacon, calling both hope and doom, and soon, the cave of warmth would turn into a battlefield of survival. The hunt begins. The cave glowed softly, filled with the hum of the mother's song. The baby's tiny breaths matched the rhythm, the warmth wrapping around them like a shield for a moment. The storm outside seemed distant, a memory, but the stranger's eyes never left the cave's entrance. His ember gaze sharp, unblinking. He felt the shift in the wind, the sound hidden within the storm. The hunters were near. The mother stopped singing, her voice breaking into silence. She felt it too, a pressure in the air. Like unseen eyes watching, her arms tightened around the baby, her heart racing. "They have found us, haven't they?" she whispered. The stranger nodded once, his voice low and steady. "Yes, the song carried farther than we hoped. The hunters follow sound, scent, and fear, and now they are close." Her throat went dry, fear clawing at her chest. She had walked through storms, but this was different. This was death with footsteps. The baby whimpered, sensing her fear. The stranger knelt, his glowing armor pulsing brighter. "Do not cry," he said, "your fear feeds them. But your song blinds them. If you sing, you hide. If you falter, you are found." Her eyes widened, her voice shaking. "Hide us with my voice." He nodded. "Yes, but you must believe it. Your song is not only comfort, it is a shield." The mother swallowed her fear, rocking her child gently. Her lullaby returned, soft and trembling. The walls glowed faintly, the air shimmered like heat. The cave seemed to breathe with the rhythm of her song. Outside, shadows moved across the snow. Tall, thin, their bodies twisted like broken trees. Eyes glowed red, sharp claws dragging along the ice. The hunters sniffed the wind, their long heads turning. One growled, a sound like stone grinding against bone. Then they began to move, slow, deliberate, their claws leaving deep scars in the snow. The mother's voice shook, but she kept singing. Her song wrapped around the cave like invisible threads. The stranger whispered, "Do not stop no matter what you hear." Her heart thumped, sweat on her forehead, her baby shifting in her arms. The hunters reached the rocks above the cave, their claws scraping stone, their red eyes burning. One leaned forward, sniffing, its jaw opening wide to reveal rows of teeth. It let out a hiss that made the earth tremble. The mother almost stopped, but the stranger's hand pressed the ground, glowing lines spreading across the cave floor. "Sing," he urged, his voice sharp. "They can smell silence." Her voice grew louder, tears streaming down her face. The lullaby filled the cave, stronger now, trembling but fierce. The baby's tiny cry joined the sound, a small note, pure and bright. The hunters paused, their heads tilting, confused. The sound rippled through the storm, weaving into the snow like fire into water. The hunters snarled, clawing the rocks, but they turned away. The song had blinded them, hiding the mother and child from their senses. The stranger rose, his armor still glowing. "They are not gone," he warned, "only misled. They will return. And they will be hungrier." The mother's voice faded, her throat burning, her body weak. She held her baby close, whispering, "I cannot keep this forever." The stranger nodded. "No, but you do not have to. Survival is not silence. Survival is movement. We must go." Before their ears sharpened again, the cave shook once more, dust falling from the ceiling. The mother's heart tightened. She stood on trembling legs. The baby stirred but did not cry. The stranger stepped forward, his glowing eyes meeting hers. "From now on," he said, "your song is not only for comfort, it is for war." The storm outside roared louder, the hunters' howls echoing across the frozen night. The mother held her child tighter. Fear and fire mixing inside her, she whispered to herself, "We will not be taken." And as she stepped out of the glowing cave, her lullaby echoed again, a fragile song in the endless storm, a song of survival, but in the distance the hunters followed, their shadows crawling closer with every step. The secret of the baby. The storm stretched endless across the white world. The mother walked close behind the glowing stranger, her feet sinking into the snow, her arms wrapped around her baby. The child was quiet now, eyes half closed, but a strange warmth spread from his tiny body. It was not the warmth of fire nor the warmth of shelter, but something deeper, something alive. The stranger walked ahead, his armor glowing faintly with every step. He never slowed, never stumbled, moving like he had walked these frozen lands for centuries. At last, they reached a valley hidden between sharp cliffs, the snow swirling above like angry spirits. The stranger lifted a hand, and the storm bent slightly as if afraid to touch him. The mother gasped, whispering, "What are you?" But he did not answer. His eyes were fixed on the baby. That was when it happened. The baby stirred, giving a soft cry, and from his tiny mouth came a note. Clear and sharp, not a word, not a lullaby, just one sound, pure and bright. The snow stopped falling. The storm froze in place. The air itself seemed to hold its breath. The mother's heart jumped. She looked down in shock. Her child's skin glowed faintly, light spreading across his tiny chest. The stranger turned, his ember eyes wide. For the first time his voice carried awe. "It has begun," he whispered. "The child awakens." The mother clutched the baby tighter, fear filling her chest. What is happening to him? What is he? The stranger knelt, his voice low and urgent. He is not only human, he is more. He carries what your people lost long ago. The voice of creation? Her breath caught, she shook her head. No, he is just my child, he is only a baby. The stranger's gaze hardened. No, he is the last song of your kind, a song strong enough to shape the world, to heal, to destroy, to call fire or silence. The hunters know this, that is why they chase you. The mother's tears fell hot on her child's face. She whispered, "But he is only small, he cannot fight. He cannot even walk." The stranger's voice was heavy. That is why they want him, because in weakness there is purity. And in purity there is power. He will grow. And the voice will grow with him. Suddenly the ground shook beneath their feet. The cliffs groaned as if something massive moved beneath the ice. From the shadows above, the red eyes of hunters appeared, one by one, glowing like coals in the dark. The stranger rose quickly, his armor flaring bright. "They have tracked us." They smelled the awakening. The mother's body froze, her arms gripping the child tighter. One hunter leapt down from the cliff, landing with a thud, its twisted form towering, claws dripping with ice. It hissed, its voice scraping like broken glass. "Give us the child." "Give us the voice," the mother stumbled back, her heart racing, but the baby stirred again. His cry echoed through the valley, louder this time, a sound filled with pure energy. The snow cracked, the ice split open, shards of frost lifting into the air as if weightless. The hunters snarled, their claws digging deep into the stone. Confused and shaken, the stranger's voice thundered. "Do you see now? Do you understand? Your child carries a storm greater than this frozen world?" The mother could only stare, her tears falling, her body trembling between pride and fear. The baby's cry faded, his glow dimming, his tiny chest rising and falling with exhaustion. He had used too much strength, and now he was weak again. The mother kissed his forehead, whispering, "Rest, my love. Rest." The hunters growled above, circling, waiting for the glow to return. The stranger raised his hand, his armor blazing brighter. "We must leave this valley," he said. "The child cannot hold this power yet, but soon, very soon he will. And when that day comes, no hunter, no storm, no darkness will stand against him." The mother looked at her baby, small and fragile in her arms, and yet she now knew the truth. Her child was not just a baby. He was the last voice of humankind, the secret hidden in the snow, and the world would burn or heal by the song he carried. Humans are special. The valley trembled with silence after the baby's cry. The hunters above hissed but did not strike, their glowing red eyes flickering with unease. The stranger stood tall, his armor blazing brighter than fire, daring them to descend. For a moment they stayed back, watching, waiting, and in that moment of stillness the mother clutched her baby tighter, whispering words only he could hear. The stranger turned to her, his ember eyes burning with something more than light. "Do you see?" he said quietly. "Even in weakness your child has power, and that power is not borrowed from the storm or the earth. It comes from you, from humankind." The mother frowned, shaking her head. "From me," she whispered. "I am no one. I have nothing but songs." The stranger's gaze deepened, his voice low. "That is why you are more than anyone. Because no other being sings, no other being dreams, no other being fights with nothing but love." His words struck her heart like fire. She remembered the ruins of her village, the empty homes, the silent fields. Her people had been called weak, fragile, too soft to survive. But here she was, still walking, still holding life in her arms, still singing in the face of death. Tears filled her eyes. Though the storm around them was ice, inside her chest a fire burned. The stranger continued, his voice growing stronger. My kind were made without fear, without pain, without song. We are strong in body, but empty in spirit. The hunters, too. They only consume, they only destroy. But humans carry something no world can copy. No weapon can break. The mother whispered. What? Her voice shaking. Hope, he said simply. And the power to give meaning to life through love, through song, through sacrifice. That is what makes you dangerous. That is why they fear your child, because he is proof that humans cannot be erased. Her heart pounded. She looked down at her baby, small, fragile, yet glowing with the memory of his cry. She kissed his forehead and whispered, You are hope, my little one. The stranger stepped closer, lowering his voice. Do not forget this. When the hunters call you weak, remember they are wrong. When the world tries to bury you in snow, sing louder, because humans were never meant to be silent. But the moment of calm broke. The cliffs above shook as two hunters leapt down, their twisted bodies landing heavy in the snow, their claws dragging across the ground, their voices hissed in unison. The voice belongs to us, give us the child, or we will tear the hope from your bones. The mother's blood ran cold, her arms shaking as she held the baby. The stranger stepped forward, his armor blazing like a shield of fire. No, he said, his voice echoing like thunder. The child belongs to a future you will never touch. The hunters snarled and charged, claws slicing through the air. The stranger met them head-on, his glowing fists colliding with their bodies, sending shockwaves through the snow. The mother stumbled back, shielding the baby with her body, her breath ragged, her song caught in her throat. But then she remembered his words. Humans are not weak. Humans sing even when the world is ending. Her voice broke free, trembling but strong. She sang the lullaby louder than before, her song weaving through the storm, through the clash of claws and armor. The ground glowed, the air shimmered. The hunters hissed, stumbling as if blinded by the sound. The stranger struck them down, their bodies vanishing into the storm like shadows swallowed by light. Silence returned, heavy and cold. The stranger turned, breathing hard, but his ember eyes burned bright. He looked at her and nodded. You understand now, she nodded back, tears on her cheeks but strength in her voice. Yes, we are not weak, we are human. The baby stirred, his small cry rising like a spark. The storm seemed to bow for a moment, the snow falling softer, gentler. The mother held him close, whispering, You are the proof, my love. The world will know humans are special. And deep in the shadows the remaining hunters growled, their hunger greater, their rage sharper. For now they knew the truth too. This was no ordinary child. This was the future they could never control. The betrayal, the storm grew calmer for a moment, the snow falling in gentle waves. The mother held her baby close. Her song fading into silence, the stranger stood nearby, his armor glowing dimly after the fight. For the first time in many nights she felt a spark of hope, a small belief that survival was possible. But hope in the frozen world never lasted long. From the shadows of the valley, a new sound rose, not the hiss of hunters, not the growl of beasts, it was the sound of boots crunching on the snow. Slow, steady, human. The mother's heart leapt, her breath catching in her throat. Another human alive, someone like her. She turned quickly, her eyes wide, searching the storm. Out of the white haze stepped a man wrapped in thick furs. His face rough, his eyes sharp. He carried a weapon across his back. Steel and fire mixed, his voice was strong. Too strong for a world that had lost so much. You survived, he said, his gaze falling on the child. And you carry something valuable. The mother's voice trembled. Please help us, hunters are everywhere. We cannot do this alone. The man gave a slow smile, though it did not reach his eyes. You're right, you cannot, but with me, you might. The stranger stepped between them, his armor blazing faintly, his ember eyes locked on the newcomer. Be careful, he said, his voice low. Not all who walk on two legs are friends. The man's eyes narrowed, his voice hard. And not all who glow are protectors. Alien. The air grew thick with tension, the mother's heart racing. She looked between the two, unsure, afraid, desperate for safety but sensing danger. The man's gaze softened as he looked at her. You don't understand, do you? He said. Your child is not only your hope. He is power. Power the hunters want. Power the stars would pay for. Power to rule or destroy. Her body froze, her arms gripping the baby tighter. "What are you saying?" she whispered. The man stepped closer, his hand hovering near his weapon. "I'm saying the child must be taken. Trained, controlled, not hidden in caves, not wasted on lullabies." His eyes burned with greed, though his words wore the mask of reason. With his voice, humanity can rise again. No longer weak, no longer prey, but masters. The stranger growled low, his ember eyes blazing. "You would sell the child to war," he said. "You would turn purity into a blade. You are no savior. You are worse than the hunters." The man's smile vanished, his voice sharp as steel. "At least I am human. At least I fight for my kind. What do you fight for?" Alien, the mother's chest ached. Torn between fear and rage, she wanted to trust this man. He was like her, human, flesh and blood. But his words dripped poison, his eyes gleamed with hunger. She whispered to herself, "Not a weapon." "Not my child." The man's hand moved fast. Reaching for the baby, the stranger blocked him, their bodies colliding like fire and stone. The snow exploded around them as they clashed. The mother stumbled back, clutching her child. Her voice caught in her throat, but in her chest. Her lullaby grew, rising again, stronger than fear. The man shouted over the storm. "You don't understand, woman. This child belongs to all of us." "Not you," her voice answered, fierce and sharp. "He belongs to no one but himself." Her song filled the valley once more. Weaving through the storm, the man staggered, covering his ears. His weapon shaking in his hand, the stranger stood firm, his glowing armor blazing like fire. The baby stirred, a small cry breaking through the air. The ground trembled, the cliffs cracked, light bursting from the snow like hidden stars. The man froze, his greedy eyes widening, fear mixing with desire. "This is more than I imagined," he whispered. "This is power itself." The mother's voice rose higher, her lullaby fierce, filled with love and fire. The storm bent to her song. The hunters howled in the distance, and the man stumbled back, yet his eyes never left the child. His heart burning with betrayal, and the mother knew the hunters were not her only danger now. The greatest threat might walk on two human legs. The final choice, the valley shook with tension. The mother stood in the snow, her baby tight in her arms, her voice still trembling from the lullaby. Before her, the stranger blazed with fire, his armor glowing like a shield. Beside him, the man in furs stood with greed in his eyes, his hand gripping his weapon, and above them, shadows moved, the hunters circling, waiting for their moment to strike. 3 dangers surrounded her. The storm screamed, the ground cracked, and the night itself seemed to hold its breath. The mother felt her body trembling, her heart racing, her child stirred weakly, his tiny cry echoing like thunder across the valley, and she knew the time for choice had come. The man stepped forward, his voice sharp. "Give me the child, woman. I will raise him strong. I will make him more than a song. I will make him a king." His eyes burned with hunger, his words like chains. The stranger growled, his ember eyes blazing. "No, the child is not a weapon. He is life. He is hope. He must be protected, not used." The mother's tears froze on her cheeks, her voice shaking. "Both of you speak as if he is yours. But he is mine. He is not a weapon, not a king. He is my son." Her words cut through the storm, but the hunters only hissed. Their voices slithered across the ice. "Give us the voice, or you will be nothing but bones in the snow." The ground trembled as the hunters moved closer, their claws scraping stone. The stranger raised his glowing hand, fire bursting across the snow to block them. The man in furs pulled his weapon, pointing it at both the stranger and the mother. "You are blind," he shouted. "Don't you see with the child's power? Humanity can rule again. This is our chance." The mother's heart broke, her body torn between fear and fury. She saw the greed in the man's eyes, the fire in the stranger's armor, the hunger in the hunter's jaws, and she realized the truth none of them truly understood. The child was not theirs to claim, not theirs to shape. The child was the last song, the last hope, and only love could guide him. The baby let out another cry, stronger this time. Glowing light spilling from his tiny body. The snow lifted into the air, the cliffs cracked. The hunters shrieked in rage. The man stumbled back, his weapon shaking, his voice filled with awe. "This power. This is everything," he whispered. The stranger shielded the mother, but his voice was firm. "Now, woman, you must decide who will carry the child's fate." Her breath came fast, her tears freezing, her lullaby rose inside her chest. She closed her eyes, kissed her baby's forehead, and began to sing. The song was louder than ever before, not just soft and gentle, but fierce and unbroken. Her voice cracked the storm. It shattered silence, it pushed back the hunters. The man covered his ears, screaming, "Stop, you'll waste him! Stop!" But she sang louder, her voice fueled by love. By pain, by hope, the ground split. Light pouring out like rivers of fire, the hunters screamed, their bodies twisting as the song tore through them. The storm bent low, bowing to the lullaby. The man dropped his weapon, stumbling to his knees, fear in his greedy eyes. The stranger stood tall, his ember gaze glowing brighter. But even he looked shaken by the power. The baby glowed like a star, his cry joining his mother's song together. Their voices became one. Love and light mixing with fire and storm. The hunters vanished into nothing. The snow stilled, silence fell. Only the mother's song remained. Echoing across the frozen land, her voice broke at last. Her body weak, she fell to her knees. The baby was quiet again, his glow fading, his small body limp with exhaustion. The stranger knelt, his voice low but filled with awe. "You chose not power, not control, but love," he said. "And that is what makes humans different." The man in furs stared at her with wide eyes, his voice hollow. "You are a fool," he whispered. "You wasted the greatest weapon the world has ever known." But she held her child close, whispering through tears, "No, I saved the greatest life the world will ever know." The new dawn, the storm was silent at last. The valley that once shook with hunters' screams now lay still, covered in broken ice and fading light. The mother knelt in the snow, her baby resting weakly in her arms. His tiny glow now dim, her body was shaking, her voice hoarse from the song that had saved them, but her arms never let go and her eyes never left her child. The stranger stood close, his armor dim but steady, his ember eyes watching her with something that almost looked like respect. "You sang against death," he said quietly. "And you won." The mother shook her head, tears freezing on her face. "I did not win, he's too weak, he gave everything he had. And now he is fading." She pressed her lips to her child's forehead, whispering through sobs, "Stay with me, my love. Please stay." The baby stirred faintly, his chest rising and falling, but his glow was nearly gone. The stranger knelt beside them, his voice low. "He is not gone, he only rests. Power this pure always comes with a cost. He will need time. He will need you." The mother held the child tighter, rocking gently, her lullaby returning in a whisper, soft and broken. Each note trembled in the cold air, but the sound carried warmth. The baby's breathing steadied, slow but sure, a fragile thread of life holding on. Above them, the sky began to change. The storm clouds parted, and for the first time in many years, sunlight broke through. Golden light touched the snow, turning the white world into silver and fire. The mother gasped, her tears falling fresh. "The sun," she whispered as if seeing a miracle. The baby's tiny eyes fluttered open, and in the light his faint glow returned. Gentle, soft, alive, the stranger stood tall, his ember gaze lifting to the sky. "This is no accident," he said. "Your song, his voice. They did not just end the hunters, they awakened the world itself." The mother looked up, her heart pounding. The snow around them glistened, rivers of ice cracking open to reveal flowing water. The dead land stirred as if listening to the lullaby still lingering in the air. She whispered, "Humans were not meant to vanish." "Were we?" The stranger shook his head, his voice deep. "No, humans were meant to endure. Not through strength of claw or armor, but through love, through hope, through song. This is what no storm can bury." The man in furs was still there, kneeling in shock, his weapon forgotten, his voice trembled. "You chose wrong. You could have made us rulers," but the mother looked at him with steady eyes, her child glowing faintly in her arms. "We were never meant to rule with fear," she said. "We were meant to live with love." Her words struck deeper than any weapon, silencing him. The baby cooed softly, his small hand reaching toward the light. The stranger's ember eyes softened and he bowed his head slightly. "Your child is not just yours anymore," he said. "He is the bridge between what was and what will be. He will carry the song of humans into a future no one can steal." The mother kissed her child, whispering, "Then I will guard him with all that I am." Until my last breath, the storm had ended. The hunters were gone, the valley was quiet, but in that quiet, something new was born. The first dawn of hope in a world long frozen. The mother rose to her feet, weak but unbroken, her baby safe in her arms. The stranger walked beside her, his armor glowing in the light of the new sun. Together they stepped out of the valley, their shadows stretching long across the silver snow. Ahead lay danger, hardship, and the unknown, but also life, also hope, for the world had heard the song of survival, and it would never be silent again. The mother whispered her lullaby one last time, not of endings, but of beginnings, and as the sun rose higher, the earth itself seemed to sing with her.